home right now. You know, this could include grandchildren and such like. No doubt you've heard of zero tolerance. The idea of we have a set of guidelines, this is what's going to happen. How many people here support zero tolerance? Okay, so we have a couple of people that do. So, when I look at zero tolerance, we look at why do we have zero tolerance? What are the reasons that things should occur? Why do we have these rules in place? Reasons given for zero tolerance. Violence in school is rising. We have increased amount of violence in our schools. We've seen Columbine. We've seen all the effects that happen after that. So if someone brings a weapon to school, zero tolerance, let's make sure that they know it's wrong. Let's remove them from the environment. The trouble is, statistics don't support that. The number of children that have been involved in incidents at school has remained at a very steady, approximately 20%. And that figure has not changed since, with the data I've been able to find, since 1993. So we have a period that I found of 22 years where there isn't this increase in violence. So maybe it's not violence. What else can we have? We make sure discipline is consistent. Certain offence, certain punishment. But hang on, we don't have that in the real world. My punishment for stealing this sign is not going to be 25 to life. We have graduated. We have graduated sentences. We don't say this is this. This has to happen regardless of the level of offence. Otherwise, why have misdemeanors and felonies? And even those have different grades. So we should consider those type of things as well when we're looking at zero tolerance. So let's look at other reasons. Students, because of the zero tolerance policy, will create a better environment. By removing the disruptive element, we stop the other children from being disrupted by that. But that's still not the case. There's still disruption in school, regardless. When people think of doing an action, they're looking at their peers. What are they doing? Am I being doubled up dared to do this? They're not thinking, what are the consequences? If everyone thought what the consequences were for their action, murder would no longer be on the books. So, okay, maybe that's not quite the right idea. Maybe people aren't considering what's going to happen to them, give them that good environment. We have the support of people, we have the support of the parents to do this. You know, if you say, well, someone brings drugs into school, that's not good. We don't want them to bring drugs into school. Anyone bringing drugs into school, we don't want them here. because they're a disruptive element. But unfortunately, parents are beginning to see that maybe that sort of response is no longer appropriate. When I'm doing research on this, there are examples of things going completely wrong, things going overboard. Bang! You're dead. Okay, that's an elementary kid. Does that to a friend because he gets annoyed. So this is a 6-year-old kid. Do you think he understands the consequences of using a real gun on someone at that age? They don't realize that then. But the child got suspension for that. Another one. Here's a nice pretty leaf. This is great. Look at this leaf, doesn't it look good? Teacher thinks, oh, that looks like marijuana. Okay, so we look into it. No, it's not marijuana, it's just a maple leaf. Not do we care? Someone does. 364-day suspension for bringing a leaf that might have been marijuana into school. And the final one, which hits home for me a lot, the no drugs policy. Prescription drugs, we don't want people passing those around. So let's let the school nurse keep them. Here you are. That's my prescription drug that I carry with me all the time. A couple of years ago, we had a case of a 17-year-old tries to get into the school office. The inhaler is still in its box with all the prescription information showing who it's prescribed to. But because some paperwork wasn't signed by the parent, the school nurse refused to give that. The child passed out. Fortunately, he was able to give his account of what happened. They're now being told off for not calling 911 because it's not policy. But the biggest heartache, same sort of incident. This is in the school office. They have to carry the boy to the office to try and get this. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. He died because their thing was, it's a prescription drug, you cannot carry it with you. They're actually trying to make a law now to make an exception for inhalers, but we shouldn't have to make these exceptions. We shouldn't have to say, oh, let's think of some common sense. There's even more examples. It's getting absurd. Now, you're looking at, okay, we've got all these examples. What can we do? Talk to your school. Find reports like this. Talk to those schools. No angry emails, that doesn't work, they get hundreds of them. Go to the school. Talk to your principal. Why is the principal not handling this? Why do we get the police called? For example, that one that's been passed around, the police were called. They attempted to prosecute. So we need to talk to the principal. And if he's saying, these are the rules, then it's case, well, can I have a professional? If you're just applying the rules, you're a clerk, you're not a principal. Make sure they know what's going on, get involved. Make sure everyone knows what you feel. And the biggest thing you can do, vote for you as a superintendent that supports the correct policies.